All right, today we're going to be jumping into the metaverse, and of course, the thing that everybody is talking about is Bored Ape Yacht Club and what is happening with the ApeCoin token. We'll talk a little bit about Aavegotchi and just some elements I think that are really starting to, I think you have to pay attention right now in the metaverse because there's a lot happening, and we definitely want to break that down for you. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Metaverse Insider. Today joining me again is Mirko Dölger, who is our co-pilot here on this show. We love to have you back in, Mirko. Thanks again for stopping in.
Hey, Paul, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Mirko, before we get started, I want to jump into obviously Unix Gaming. Mirko is one of the CEOs and founders there. Tell me anything new at Unix Gaming. What's going on over there?
Yeah, so we hit an important milestone. So we basically, our Discord is now 200,000 players strong. So we're pretty proud of that. And
Okay.
yeah, and we have a new website. We have also a giveaway actually for ape tokens at the moment on our Twitter. And it was basically because we also have mutant apes in our portfolio and bored apes. So, and we, these tokens we got for free. So we said, okay, reward the community for that. And yeah, in the brand new website you were actually showing in the beginning, it's definitely highlighting a little bit more the Unixverse, what we're building on. And there you can also see some of our achievements with 27 million following on streamers. Here is Final Round. That's basically our launch pad. What is coming in April? We have already 6 games lined up, a lot of negotiations, and yeah, and we have on the partnerships. Basically, if you see Unix Gaming, we have actually with all the exciting games partnerships with, if you hear Sandbox, Big Time, Shrapnel, Angelic Sky, Buzzer, Angel of Free. So yeah, we have really a highly interest in gaming guilds, in games and projects. We really love to talk about gaming. And there's more utilities coming for the token, not only from the launchpad, also we're building on a marketplace, what makes players more easy to rent out their NFTs and more social engagement tools to onboard in the metaverse. And yeah, we're just active and happy to onboard all the new games in our ecosystem, in our Unixverse, supporting small guilds, big games. So yeah, super excited.
I like it. I like it. You guys have a lot happening, and just many of the new projects, because we've been talking with Angelic, Shrapnel, many of these new games that have started to move into the space. I can't wait to get a little bit deeper on those because we do pretty deep analysis on our gaming side things here. Whether it's on a play to earn, we'll take a lot more dive into the team, the tokenomics if there is some, their digital asset structure, all that good stuff. But I want to get into Bored Ape Yacht Club, now valued at, this is $4 billion. This was a news story here. $4 billion. This was after their most recent round of $450 million. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. $450 million funding round now is valuing this IP at $4 billion. When you look at this, Mirko, the stage in which has been set with Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I think a lot of people kind of knew this was coming, that we would see an IP avalanche, so to speak, on the space. Did you expect it to move so quickly and become such really kind of front edge news of the industry?
I think, if you consider that Bored Apes are 14 months old, I think they never woke up with this idea. And crypto is sometimes very intense because there's so many opportunities. And I think they are, beside CryptoPunks, and they purchased the IPOs on them, was like one of the projects, but also CyberKongs, and you need to highlight them. They had a lot of inventions also this year. But Bored Apes, with the exposure, with this bringing status to NFTs that really like superstars want to have kind of these pieces, become such a trend. And I think Bored Apes, they're the trendsetter for NFTs now, for the whole market.
Right.
And what they created and really like having a 4 billion valuation now. And it's just the beginning. the game, what you see here, the trailer is coming out in April, the game. And also there's, sorry, there is a lot of like Easter eggs always built in. So for example, this is gonna be in an NFT collection from Yuga Labs, the little animal what carried the ape. And so they're building in on also the spaceship. What they had in the trailer is basically there was cool cats, there was crypto tots. Yeah, here is coming now, and they already like giving some sneak peek who is basically also participating in the metaverse, and this is so cool, you know. And they're really focusing on basically on bringing collections together, building a metaverse for everybody. And this is really, really good. And they have the right point of view on that. It's not like make more money or make more revenue. Of course, this is important for a company, but it goes back into an ecosystem. It goes back in a metaverse. So I really enjoy seeing what they're building and super excited what is coming up. So yeah, it's definitely, it was one of my craziest launches ever I see. You know, we talked about this before the show, with all the exchanges lined up for this one particular moment. This is it's a sign.
It's pretty insane when you look at just the overall mass hysteria, so to speak. I think when ApeCoin hit the market, we're going to give you guys a sentiment breakdown on this, because this is something that we do in the Crypto Power Index, where we'll rank a lot of different projects. We do this in the metaverse, a lot of the Play-To-Earn game projects and all that. So we'll give you guys a breakdown on this. But before I get into that, I was looking at the funding round here, obviously led by Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z, upcoming. You know, this is kind of the blue chip investment teams out there for sure. When you look at IP, and I think, you know, if you think about Disney and kind of the evolution of what we're probably going to see happening with things like, you know, VV and just the digital collectibles side of things, and I think more and more we'll see more digital assets moving in this place. So IP is going to be a big factor here. When I look at what's happening with Bored Ape, it almost seems like the blueprint for any great IP house. This could be with Marvel, DC. I mean, you could just go on down the line from a film and entertainment side, but then you could go into IP from branding side as well. If they're following the formula that Ape is in Bored Ape Yacht Club is doing, this could potentially really kind of show people the way to go. Now, the other aspect to this, of course, is the hype. When you look at the hype of what's happening right now, I was just looking at their OpenSea, 10,000 items, already 64% of these items are now locked up. Of course, we already know that. Floor price, ridiculous, has been holding forever. And then you look over here at just trends. Now, this is what kind of gets me a little bit. This one, of course, is just the past 7 days. This is against some of the other, I won't call ApeCoin a meme coin, but it has a lot of elements that have similarities to Doge and Shiba in the sense of just, you know, awareness and hype. But when you look at what's happening just in general on how quickly search trends started to kind of wane with this, and we'll show you some data on this as well, even though Shiba did have, you know, some recent news. But what are your thoughts on whether or not Yuga Labs can hold this hype train, and how long? Or is it a constant feed the beast kind of scenario?
I think they made a good job since they launched Bored Apes, even without having a very heavy marketing, because the community is carrying the project, and they will not stop carrying the project. And this is really something you cannot stop. So now, even with the airdrop, basically, or the claim, what for every holder, you even more attach them to the project. And I think how they release the news, you know, like, and this is something, you know, giving some hints on their website. For example, something is brewing.xyz. There's Yuga Labs, Animoca, and then how they teaser the game, you know, like how they, for example, announce the news, and then people speculating, and all these masses now who have either not yet a Bored Ape, but maybe excited for the next collection, so they can get in if they think maybe a mutant or a Bored Ape is too expensive. So there's so many people who want now get a piece of that. And this is something I think that the community is the strongest marketing they have, and everybody with the Bored Ape holder is even, it's own or live that kind of movement, what happened here.
Yeah, I think it is. It's an interesting. I was looking at pricing right here on CoinMarketCap, and obviously it had that that big fall off. Then it kind of came back a little bit here on the 18th, went back up to what was about $15, and then jumped back down to a little bit of a stable point, hovering in around the 13, and then kind of has fallen down, but has maintained around the $10 to $11 mark. All right, so Mirko, what we did was we pulled the chart early in the cycle here, and you can see it there on the 17th on kind of launch day. After the fall, it still had a very solid, matter of fact, it had probably the best sentiment, which was hovering around 77 with an AMP score of 79, which usually indicates that we're going to see some traction. And in fact, we did. It jumped up to almost 15 or $16. And then it started to fall off a little bit as it got down into the $10 zone here on the 20th. Sentiment dropped to 73.65 and a 71. This is where it gets a little interesting, because when we see amplification start to separate from sentiment, it usually means bad things, at least for a token price. And then 71.06 and amplification continuing to fall, and that was as of this morning. When you look at those, and you think about just in general, just remember, guys, these are, when we do these market movers like this, when we show you data like this, the point behind what we do here is to give you research, not investment advice. We're not telling you to go out and buy ApeCoin at all. What we want you to do is really understand what's happening out there. So that's the key behind all this. When you look at this, Mirko, do you think this is overhyped? Do you think we'll still see this project continue to rise? Obviously, it's got a lot of funding behind it. What are your thoughts over the next, say, 6 months?
On the chart, first of all, I would say that there was been a lot of people like acquiring because of the hype aboard it, not because they like it, and they claim the token and they make they sell it. So you had kind of this fall down in the price, but then there's a lot of the people who are supporting the project to death. So again, I think the token, this is now still looking for a price. It's still a few days old. So there's a lot of things happening. But, the game, I think the Ape token plays a role for sure. And it's not only one game. They're planning many, many more games. Or at least a metaverse for many games. Plus the marketplace they announced where the Ape token is again a utility. So, and this is in the near future. I think the first game or the game comes in April. Otherside, the name, and then the marketplace. I think we don't wait long for the marketplace to release as well, and then the token have so much support as well from huge traffic what anyway Bored Apes already have. So any project they release in the next few months and riding the hype is definitely have a lot of impact on the token. So I think it's still in cheaper price to considering where it can going, and super excited about what they're building. It's definitely trendsetter for the whole NFT market where we go, and I think they highlight really that collaborations is very important. They have huge collaborations, but also with NFT projects and building basically a metaverse where everybody can participate. And this is very interesting. I like the idea. Of course, you cannot do that with every game. For example, you cannot have, let's say, there's a club actually, also in Miami. This is basically now the HQ, I don't know, but who is accepting the Ape token. And this club, they're also Bored Apes holders. There's another game there already. And there's many, many projects that, like, of course, enable now the Ape token. And I think it's interesting. If you don't have a token, why you need to make an own token? Maybe use the token, make a collaboration with Bored Apes or with the token, and use that. We don't need to always invent something new. And if there's something that is have a lot of value. So I really like it.
Yeah, I think that's well, and I think that everybody gets on the hype train. I mean, we're getting ready to launch a CPI credential on ApeCoin just because the demand and the number of people who have asked us about it. So it'll be one of our regular tokens that we record historical data on from both sentiment and amplification, which could be good for a long-term, especially if you're looking at these edgier case projects to invest in out there. The Crypto Power Index is one way to really kind of track how all that is going. I was looking at kind of just the breakdown, because some people don't necessarily understand how the ApeCoin tokenomics work, all that element that is really backing the project itself. This article really kind of breaks it down. It has a permanent fixed supply of 1 billion tokens, no minting capability exposed to the contract interface, so that's going to give kind of a deflationary aspect, I guess, because it's never going to have any increase on that. The other thing that they talked about is they explained on Twitter that the ApeCoin would be used as the primary token for the ecosystem. So this is all Yuga products. So this is going to flow within all sorts of different games, maybe more IP out there. There could be even more projects from an IP standpoint that are within Yuga Labs. I'm really excited to see just how creative this team can be, because there could be some very new stuff coming from Yuga that would kind of point in that direction. And then last was ApeCoin will have its basically a steward called the Ape Foundation, which essentially is setting up the ApeCoin DAO. And this is going to be kind of the day-to-day operation or admin, bookkeeping, project manager, etc. So I think this is another good reason that Yuga is doing it the right way, in the essence of building a crypto powerhouse or a metaverse powerhouse out there from an NFT standpoint. And the only thing that worries me was this news article right here. Bored Ape Yacht Club sales volume sinks a little bit, 200 million. And if you look at where this was going, the sales volume in January, this was reaching their all-time high in January. Then they had the fall in sales last month, NFT sales volume. Now, I would say this, in all fairness, is that we've seen the NFT space take a pretty big drop here over the last 30 days. So it's not necessarily just Bored Ape Yacht Club. We've seen all of NFTs start to correct, and a healthy correction, I think, when you look at this over time. So I guess the question to you is, good stuff's coming for them. There's going to be some challenges. Are you seeing anything from an innovation side, especially from an IP powerhouse like these guys, that could reset the table on something different? Because everything they've done right now so far has been pretty much crypto 101. Get a great NFT project rolling, get mass adoption, build a big community, launch a token. That's kind of the playbook and the blueprint that almost all good, successful crypto companies use. Do you see any things that are going to come out of this team that might be different than that?
I think yes, it's it's kind of the way you do it, but how they did it, like with all the major exchanges in one, this is like, so they set really, like, it's kind of a statement what they made, in my opinion. Like, it's not a regular success. It was like just massive success. And I think because of the trading volume, I see it more any of these NFTs and look NFT lines, CryptoPunks, or anything over time gains in value and becomes more and more rare if you're not adding future NFTs. So
right.
And now thinking about, let's say one of these two, the CryptoPunks and let's say Bored Apes and Kongs, think about them in 2-3 years. It doesn't matter if the trading volume is high or not. Yeah, so it's like punks, they're not selling on a daily, but when they sell, then it's already like a highlight. Like, oh, another 9 million CryptoPunk. So and you will see that, like with Bitcoin. It's become more and more rare over the years of Bitcoin. And the same you see with these kind of NFTs. There will be a lot of collections. They will be just unknown maybe in 1 year time. But these projects, and now having basically let's say a godfather of the blue chip NFTs. I'm not saying that the other projects, they are not setting and innovative, but there's a lot of interesting projects there. I think Bored Apes Yacht Club, they're giving kind of a guidance where to go. And if you can have a chance to collaborate with them, I would do it definitely, to basically maybe be more sustainable for the future. So yeah, I think what they did is yeah.
Let's jump over to Aavegotchi just real quickly. I know this has kind of been focused on Bored Ape, but I promised everybody a look at Aavegotchi's Play-To-Earn Metaverse launching soon. This is going to be one of those that could be a big success as well. Not that we can compare it to an ape, but what we are seeing with Aavegotchi is more and more innovation around what they've been planning for quite some time. When you look at this project, because as a guild, you guys obviously are looking at all these different platforms, games, and the NFT assets, digital assets, et cetera. What are your thoughts on Aavegotchi and its potential for kind of explosion here?
I mean, Aavegotchi is definitely I would say one of the first, who've been on the market, and with a very unique concept, and of course expanding, like with time to develop. And I think they've been always on the radar, I think, from a lot of guilds. Also, we invested and other guilds as well, because it's a fun game. The NFTs are awesome. The gameplay is there, and then and building, like that's again, I think, one of the secret sauce. Would say, like, don't build only one game and then release it. No, build, and step by step building up, and then creating. Right. And basically same in Unix. We start as a guild, but then we got a game studio, we get a launch pad, marketplace. So it's like, and it's the same with the development on what we had in another show with you, was the Momoverse. It's like, they're starting as one game, but that's why I have really a high confidence that they're doing an awesome job here. And excited how their metaverse looks like. Their Gotchiverse.
When you look at the Gotchiverse, when you look at 2022, we're seeing a lot of kind of innovation. I think that, because I don't think that when you look at the metaverse in general, that it's slowing down. Some people are kind of reeling back. Maybe they're readjusting their strategies, but we are seeing more brands jumping into the space. Obviously, this success with, I think, Ape is going to take us to a new level in terms of just awareness on this. Is there anything that you're looking at from a long-term standpoint, especially from Unix side of things, in your own roadmap for Q3 and Q4 of 2022? What do you see happening that could be of big note for those later in the year?
I think there's more innovations in the play and earn space, in the GameFi space. You see more stronger economies, because what we identify is, or what you see very clear with a lot of projects, there's a reward token, and it's minted all over. Mm-hmm. All these projects, they're struggling, and we need to maybe think, is this the right model? Is something what is used as an income, is it the right way? So, and we see already a lot of projects do something about it, and thinking, of course, these games also, we need to understand their early stage. Yeah. Axie Infinity, for example, is still, let's say, there is not a land game play out there. So there's a very early stage of the game still. So they're bringing out soon a new in-game feature, what might bring a new burning mechanism to the tokens. But I think the game will start maybe from a different approach. Maybe start, instead of have a token, maybe start with NFTs. This is what I personally like. And you see more, I think, competitive ecosystems. For Unix, it's a little bit different, because we are kind of in the middle. We are, of course, we have an ecosystem to run, but we are like connecting games and players. So for us, or for the guild side, is also, I think there's a lot of things happening for 2022, because we also need to innovate the space. And think having there the right focus on how to improve the guild model is definitely the approach, and what guilds should take. And we really working close with many other guilds and identifying or maybe setting standards, like for the space, because every guild have different reward models for the players. So, and at the moment we have a kind of sometimes an imbalance of, like, I wouldn't say there's no rules, right? But if would be interesting if all guilds could agree on one kind of a payout method to the players if there's anything. So yeah, looking forward to interact more with games and guilds and see the space growing. It's very new, and we see a lot of exciting projects.
I was looking at South by Southwest here this last week. Obviously there was a huge, rollout of South by on their focus on the metaverse. And I think that's something that is kind of going to be, one, bringing it mainstream in the sense of people really understanding, play to earn, what Web3 really means, kind of the evolution of really kind of just a new economy that's being built within the metaverse. And if you look at projects like Ape, or you look at Aavegotchi, or many of the others that kind of flow into this direction, there's going to be a lot, I think, happening, especially as these major tech conferences and many more conferences really start to roll this out this year. I think awareness factor, especially around big brands, is going to become a big factor for 2022, but it's going to be interesting for sure. Hey, Mirko, fun to have you always in the co-pilot seat here on Metaverse Insider. Thank you again for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. See you next week.
You got it. All right. Listen, you guys are listening in over on the podcast right now. Tune in. That's great. Love it. Actually, the Metaverse Insider podcast has really started moving up the charts. We're now in the top 10 for Metaverse podcasts over on Spotify. Make sure and give us some stars over there. Help us make it into the top 5. But the number one place to find us is right here on YouTube. All you have to do is search Paul Barron Network. You'll find us. And if you want to hit me up, it's out on Twitter at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on Metaverse Insider.